When you take a look at every single level RobTop has ever published, it's not even up for debate which one would be his most anticipated. With well over 50 million views on mini tutorials and sneak peeks alike, Geometry Dash 2.2 wasn't just going to be Geometry Dash's biggest update, it was going to be one of the biggest updates in gaming history. And despite the inevitable letdown that Geometry Dash 2.2 would be excluding the highly anticipated and controversial demon, Explorers, we did end up getting insane difficulty level Dash, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. In terms of introductions, Dash wastes no time. We make our way as the normal cube onto 3 pillars, and then before you know it, we get introduced to our first new gameplay addition, camera movements. Although this sequence is shortly lived, because RobTop decides to show you quite literally everything 2.2 has to offer in the shortest sequence possible, because after a couple of orbs, we're into this iconic spider section, for better and for worse. So much is happening at once here, on top of the fact that this is deemed as RobTop's most unsight readable section he's ever made. I mean, there's genuine levels to a segment like this. First of all, how about the fact that the camera is not moving at all, and the auto-scroll gameplay that Geometry Dash is built upon has now all of a sudden stopped? Then you have the audacity to show me 3 sets of arrows. Mind you, I have no idea what ones to use first, and the best part of all of this, to stay alive and progress through the level, I have to forget everything I know and run directly into a wall. You're kidding me. Now I won't overreact either, right? Constant use of practice mode, alongside the fact that this is at the introduction of Dash, is going to have you getting used to this in no time. Although with that said, the introduction's far from over. We make our way from this spider segment, falling from the ceiling into a jump pad. For some reason, we go into this Dash orb as the ball, just to go back into the cube after. I'm breaking the 4th wall. If you guys can tell me why I did this, feel free. Because Rob, what's going on? RobTop tells us to hold that thought though, because by the time we know it, we go from that random ball into normal cube gameplay. Hold that thought again, because now with these additions of potions, we're now into mini gameplay. Hold both of those thoughts, because by the time we know it, now we're preventing the ceiling from collapsing by clicking on these color coordinated blocks. Now this segment, I love it and I hate it, right? As someone who's always hearing out new players, this isn't a well-designed segment. Let me explain. To be completely honest, I never thought about it from this perspective before making this video, and it's the fact that a ton of players, despite its hype, will never see that 2.2 teaser trailer. Now that the update's out, all incentive is lost to rewatch that, who cares? But myself, having waited throughout that entire 7-year period, knew exactly what I was getting myself into. Now let's come back to the players who haven't seen that trailer, right? And they haven't played Dash, they're about to go in for their first playthrough. There needed to be more visual indicators here on what to and to not press. A lot of people have made mention to adding spikes on the bottom of the blocks. I don't mind the idea, but I think we should have played a bit more onto that electricity. It looks cool. Now hopefully by the end of today's episode you'll see why Dash delivered on the hype, but something that this level definitely didn't deliver on would be the hidden coins. I'm not a fan of just hitting my head on the last block here for the first one. It seems lazy. It's doing coins like this a disservice. Let me just keep on rolling the footage. There's examples. Coins like this a disservice. Dash continues to build up its own hype, making sure that we never stick with the same idea, because thanks to an upside down orb and this green potion, we're back into normal gameplay, just to realize that what follows up next is a whole new game mode. I get that it's an unfair comparison because 2.2 is so grand compared to other updates, but the moment that we slow down here while the music says Geometry Dash and then we go into the swing game mode, oh, it's a great reveal. It feels like a trailer every single time I play the level. Now, before we talk about RobTop's first attempt at swing gameplay, we have to make mention to why the actual game mode itself is designed poorly. Just for this example, I'm going to give you a broad analysis. The easier the level, the lower the clicks per second. The more difficult the level, the higher the clicks per second. This has resulted in some of the game's most popular segments, some of the game's most satisfying gameplay, and when you take a look at the swing game mode, we are incentivized not to do that. Fundamentally, that already makes the swing game mode less popular, but this isn't a popularity contest, it's a game mode contest, and yet it still fails. Every single game mode up until this point, whenever you let go of your input, would simply descend due to gravity, or they would get stuck in the ceiling because it's a spider or a ball. Using that pre-existing knowledge towards the swing game mode, the fact that there are zero visual indicators on which direction we're going to go is insult to injury. It would have solved every problem. Now, my easy solution to this problem is whenever you're ascending, you should be your first color, so mine would be pink. Then, when you click your input again, and then you descend, you should go to your second color, so mine would be purple. That brings us back to Dash, where the first time that we use the swing, it's incredible. RobTop understands, as the developer of the game, that spacing out your clicks is the best guarantee for nice, enjoyable swing gameplay, so that's exactly what he does. The actual color palette here, in my opinion, is one of the best looking screenshots of any RobTop level. The objects that can kill us, they look incredible, and then for the swing gameplay, like the duration of it, it's not as long as you may expect. Although before we can even say to ourselves how short of a sequence that was, we get shown a ton of camera movements here in a moment where I was terrified as a first time player. Coming into Geometry Dash, we had no idea what our line in the sand would be for what's too subtle and too much for these camera movements. Now I bring mention to that again as if I'm your schizophrenic grandfather because the value of this is immense. Allow the creator of the game themselves to showcase to you what potentially too much may look like. That's a very helpful thing. Don't allow creators to make that mistake, they still will, but the magnitude in which they won't now is definitely something to account for. After the swing, we go into Minikube gameplay, where the camera tilts 90 degrees. That shortly lived, because after another 90-degree tilt, we're now in upside down robot gameplay. Just want to take a quick moment to appreciate things that I'll inevitably take for granted, such as this portal here, which is going to transform us into robot gameplay, showing no visuals. Instead, it's just this fire portal. We don't know what the hell we're going to be after this 90-degree turn. And while we're here, I can't help but to think back again to that original trailer, because what did RobTop have in mind for this ball segment? Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's more memorable because of the decoration shift. We go from these blazing colors to just black and green. And as you can tell from this footage I'm flicking between, RobTop didn't have that in mind at all. But yet again, if you were to ask myself, and many players included, chances are he had nothing up there. Earlier, I made mention to potentially too much with these camera movements by RobTop himself, and I didn't misspeak. This is because I'm in the boat where it's just too much. It's definitely not ruining my experience, don't take this the wrong way, but I can't be biased towards RobTop all the damn time. Right as the camera stops spinning, so does the ball gameplay, and then this takes us back into a swing portion, where it's unfortunately the exact same thing over again. Whereas on a level like Blast Processing, the introduction of the wave in 1.9, we at least saw the addition of dual gameplay. This was quite ambitious for the time of Geometry Dash. You're meaning to tell me the brand new game mode is going to appear twice? That's pretty good, but then it's the exact same thing over again. This level delivered on almost every single metric measurable, although for this swing game mode, no wonder people are still on the fence. Now on some positives, I'm actually a big fan of this second coin. The discoloration of the orange electricity, that was fun to look out for when this level first came out. Or how about the click pattern that you have to learn, which is really easy to obtain it. Making up for the repetition of that swing portion, we get a variety of brand new things building off of what we just spoke about, a recurring theme. This being the purple dash orb, the upside down variant of the traditional green dash orb, which we actually end up using just after. that then sends us into a new gameplay element once again, the spider orb. How these two things work is extremely self-explanatory. The variant of the normal dash orb is going to then leave you upside down once you're done holding, and then for the spider orbs, we are going to have the exact same physics as the spider, but with any game mode that we choose. RobTop keeps it simple though, he uses just the cube to home in on the fact that we have so much variation to achieve the exact same gameplay. Instead of jumping onto the ceiling and sticking to it like we do in the introduction, how about a brand new orb to achieve the same thing? And on the topic of walls and ceilings that we can stick to, RobTop goes back to that playbook with the most recognizable sequence Dash has to offer. The camera stopped once again for quite a significant portion of time, just shy of 20% of this level to put it into perspective, as we make our way into a perfect spiral. We hug walls, we hug ceilings, we can see the acid building up so we make sure we don't fall off, while we end up counting down to 1? What the hell is that about? Okay, that gives me my answer, but before we continue with that ship gameplay, we gotta go back really quickly. Where the hell is that third coin? With a design choice so bad that you'd second guess it for a pre-patch Geometry Dash spin-off coin, yeah, the third coin on Dash is terrible. And before you guys go out of your way saying, "Colors, this is one of the easiest coins in the game," that's my point. Why? It's the third coin. The last video I made, no you don't have to go watch it, was talking about how the last coin is difficult. What are we doing? Okay, I can't deal with that coin anymore. There's genuinely nothing else I can say. But this ship portion, I can add more to it, and that's because it's awkward. Free roam camera movements are something that the community's wanted for a very long time. Look at the solutions they made without it. So it should be to no one's surprise that we see it from RobTop himself in his brand new level. The thing that I question is, why did he make it subtle? It is not even funny how many players I can guarantee have died here at this specific part at this ship portion because of the camera movement. I don't know why he did that. Funnily enough, this reminds me of the introduction again, something that you'll die to once, but even in the short glance that you get before you respawn at the beginning, chances are you'll connect to the dots and know exactly what to do next time. We then go into robot gameplay, where these massive fans helping us change directions steal the show. It reminds me exactly like this robot gameplay in Finger Dash. Both of these portions gameplay wise, like what game mode we're using, completely fine, but nothing that necessarily sticks out, because we're being advertised how we can use these cool new gameplay mechanics in satisfying ways. The conclusion of Dash is my favorite conclusion out of any RobTop level he's ever made. Let me explain. The first thing you'll notice are the visuals. We've thankfully played right back into that blue, red, purple colorway I was discussing earlier. Super satisfying. We're upscaling here with the camera slowly vertically ascending like it's a tower level in a Mario game. We're consistently changing game modes as well, enforcing the variety of 2.2, but it's not overwhelming either, thanks to the way that RobTop plays into the whole go off the left-hand side and then come out the right-hand side. Super simple, things that we've seen in other games, but 2.2 allows for this to happen. The Minikube gameplay is really easy. This is assisted from these green flashing arrows to help guide us. We go into wave gameplay, which I think is pretty spaced out. It's high clicks per second, but surely you got the hang of it. And then for that Minikube, it's just a couple of jumps. We get pushed by a fan, what we were just talking about, and then the level is over.